He arrested more than 3,000 outlaws. He survived gunfight after gunfight and was never once wounded. He was a master of disguise who could walk into an outlaw's camp and walk out with him in chains. And he did it all as a black man in the most dangerous corner of the American West. His name was Bass Reeves, and for almost 100 years, history pretended he never existed. Bass Reeves was born in 1838 in Arkansas into slavery. He was given the last name of the man who owned him, William Reeves. As a young man, he was forced to serve as a personal companion to his owner's son, traveling with him into Texas. Even in bondage, he was known for two things: extraordinary strength and an uncanny skill with a gun. The story goes that he could shoot so well, he was eventually barred from the turkey shooting competitions his owner entered him in. He was simply too good. Then came the Civil War. The exact details are debated, but the most repeated account says that one night, after a violent dispute over a card game, Bass Reeves struck his owner and fled for his life. To strike a white man was a death sentence, so he ran north and west, into Indian Territory, the land we now call Oklahoma. There he lived among the Cherokee, Creek, and Seminole nations. He learned their languages, their customs, and the vast and lawless land they lived on. He became a skilled tracker, and he waited. When the Civil War ended and the 13th Amendment abolished slavery, Bass Reeves was finally, fully, a free man. He settled as a farmer, married, and began raising a family. But the land around him was descending into chaos. Indian Territory had become a hideout for the worst outlaws in America, killers and thieves who fled there precisely because it was almost impossible to police. In 1875, a judge named Isaac Parker was given the monumental task of bringing law to that territory. He needed deputies who knew the land, who could speak the languages, and who were tough enough to survive. His marshal hired a man who fit all three. Bass Reeves became one of the first black deputy U.S. marshals west of the Mississippi River. The job he took was, by almost any measure, the most dangerous in the country. The territory he had to patrol covered 75,000 square miles. Deputies rode out for weeks at a time, alone, hunting men who would kill them on sight. More than 100 deputy marshals were killed doing this work. Bass Reeves had a weapon his targets never expected. He had never been allowed to learn to read or write, so he memorized. Before every trip, someone would read his stack of arrest warrants aloud, and he committed every name, every charge, and every face to memory. He never served the wrong warrant, but his greatest weapon was his mind. Bass Reeves was a master of disguise. He would shed his badge and ride into outlaw country dressed as a drifter, a farmer, even an outlaw himself. He would gain their trust, share their fire, and then when they least expected it, reveal who he was. One famous account tells of two outlaw brothers with a price on their heads. Reeves disguised himself as a tramp, walked 28 miles, and talked his way into their mother's cabin, asking for a place to rest. When the brothers came home and fell asleep, he quietly handcuffed them both and marched them back to jail. Over 32 years, Bass Reeves arrested more than 3,000 outlaws. By the accounts of his time, he was forced to kill 14 men in the line of duty. Always, he insisted, in self-defense. And in all those years, in all those gunfights, he was never once shot. Hats were shot from his head. Bullets cut his belt and reins. But he always walked away. He became a legend among the very outlaws he hunted. They told stories of a giant of a man on a great horse who could not be bribed, could not be ambushed, and could not be killed. To break the law in Indian Territory was to risk a visit from Bass Reeves. But the law for Bass Reeves was the law, even when it broke his heart. One day, a warrant crossed his desk for a man accused of murder. The name on it was his own son. Other deputies offered to take the case. Reeves refused. He said the warrant was his to serve, and he rode out, tracked down his own son and brought him in to face justice. He served as a federal marshal for 32 years, through statehood, until Oklahoma itself was born in 1907. By then he was nearly 70 years old. Even then, he wasn't done. He took a job as a police officer in the city of Muskogee, and it's said that on the beat he walked, crime simply did not happen. Now consider this: a masked lawman of the Old West, a man of extraordinary skill with a gun, a loyal companion who rode alongside him from a native nation, a trail of silver. Some historians believe the legend of Bass Reeves may have helped inspire one of the most famous fictional heroes in American history, the Lone Ranger. If true, America made a white fictional hero out of a real black man, and then forgot the real man entirely. Bass Reeves died in 1910, and for decades, his story faded into silence. There were no movies, no monuments, no chapters in the school books. One of the most effective lawmen in the history of the American frontier had been almost completely erased. But the truth has a way of returning. Today, historians have pieced his story back together. A bronze statue of Bass Reeves now stands in Fort Smith, and a bridge in Oklahoma carries his name. He is finally being remembered for what he truly was: not a myth, not a sidekick, but one of the bravest and most remarkable lawmen this country ever produced. Bass Reeves was born owned by another man, and died one of the most respected lawmen in America. He brought in 3,000 outlaws, never broke the law to enforce it, and was written out of the story he helped create. We remember him now, so that it can never be erased again. This is Untold America. Subscribe, and next time, the story of an enslaved man who stole a Confederate warship, sailed it to freedom, and became a member of Congress.